Now, something that I find that confuses people often is the difference between importing a model into Unity and using the Reflect prefab. So to explain the difference between the two, I'll do both of those, but we will start with the importing a model. So I'm not going to use the Reflect prefab right now. I'm going up here to Window, and since we installed Reflect, you will see that there's now a Reflect option here. If I select that, it will come up with this little window and grab all of the projects assigned to my Unity ID. Now, before you can see these projects, you need to sign in to your Unity account with the same email address that was used when you created your project and that Unity Reflect license is assigned to. So if I scroll down the list here, I will find the webinar sample that we exported earlier from Revit. And if I import that, it will download that from the Reflect server and then start the import process. So you can see it is importing all of those different elements of that model one by one and assigning the metadata script to it and also linking all of that metadata to the specific element. Once that installation is done, I'm going to close this window and you will see now under my assets, I have a Reflect folder. Webinar sample, that is the project that we imported. I have the name of that model, and if I click on that, the actual prefab is available. On the right, all of the materials that you can remap are available. And if I expand this, every single element inside the model is also available, including the metadata. To get this into my scene, I'm just going to drag this into the hierarchy here. You can see there it's imported. Now this places the whole model inside your scene. So if you have a massive model, you will have a massive scene. And this is not really optimized for mobile usage. In a case like this model, it's probably not going to be a problem. I will probably have the resources on my phone to run this. But the moment you start getting to bigger projects, you will run into problems. However, this is the workflow that most people working in Unity would be used to. So here you have a standard prefab. You basically have a 3D model with materials applied to it. So you can see if I select that, all of the standard options that you would expect to see. There's my materials, lighting, all of those settings are available. Only thing that's different here is I have this metadata script that has all of the metadata that comes from Revit. This is pretty cool in that you can use this to isolate or select elements at runtime and, for example, apply different materials or any type of other interaction that you want. If you want to build a scene, for example, where someone can click on something and it shows the metadata, you could do that. So from here, you are working with a standard Unity game project. But once again, it does create a massive model, especially on bigger projects. And if you make any changes in Revit, you would have to sync them back by opening Reflect and updating the model. The other important thing here is if you move anything or transform anything in the scene, for example, let's say that one, you'll see that the transform information is bold. Now, that is to show you that this is an override. Same thing will happen if you, for example, override any materials here. Yeah, so just take note of that. These changes will not sync back to Revit. This is Unity specific. So let's look at how do you use the runtime model or the Unity prefab.